Well, hey everyone, it's me here, Kimball. I didn't know if I was going to make it here to the Git-er-done workshop today, but I have made it, and I'm delighted to be here. It is cold and wet outside. It's November, but we got sunshine in here. We have got LED lights in here. I got space. This is great. The Git-er-done workshop. This concept for this direction for my YouTube videos is kind of exciting to me the more I think about it. And I figured we need a official Git-er-done workshop motto. That's it, right there. Don't be a slacker. Now, if you've watched my past videos, occasionally you've seen that sign. And I made that for me. It's kind of my mantra without the Eastern religion aspects. Something I say to myself quite a bit. It's self-talk. Self-talk can be a good thing. Get her done. Don't be a slacker. Today we're going to talk about circles. Okay, enough of that preliminary stuff. We're going to talk about circles because circles are quite often necessary. Little circles and big circles. To draw them is what I'm talking about. I was in the building trades as a carpenter, and I needed to draw circles from time to time. Little circles, big circles. I'm going to talk about little circles just a little. I'm going to talk about bigger circles more, and specifically how to draw them. There's a couple of techniques for drawing the bigger circles. As you know, if you watched my previous video, I need to make a circular cover for a standpipe out in my field. Right here is that standpipe that I'm going to make a cover for. This is the section that in the previous video I cut it off. This is the waste piece, but I'm not going to waste it. I need to find a use for it because, as you will recall if you watch that video, it was $100 a foot is what I paid for this. I got 2 feet here. So I don't want to throw it away. I want to use it. And it occurred to me that this could be made into a coffee table, kind of an industrial look. It won't fit into the farmhouse style interior of my recently mostly completed addition on my house. But yeah, that's an option, a coffee table. Or it could be also a doghouse. I could see this as a doghouse. I could make a doghouse out of that. Pretty unique and nifty doghouse. Do you have any ideas? I'm open to suggestions. I'm going to make this cover out of 3/4 inch plywood. There's going to be more to it than just a piece of plywood because I want to make a cover that fits very nicely, snugly, I could say, and that lasts. So there'll be more to it, but it starts with this 3/4 inch piece of plywood, and I'm going to cut it 36 inches diameter, and which is the diameter of the pipe. So before I cut it, I need to mark it, all right? And that's where we get into the circles and the making circles. I'm also going to make a circle. It's necessary that I make a circle 29 3/4 inches, which is the inside diameter of this pipe. Okay, so I need 2 circles on this. For drawing small circles, this is the tool. It's a compass. You're familiar with this. You've seen it. You probably have one. Or it's called a winged divider. This is a particularly nice one. I bought it very early in my career, like in the 1980s. It's made by C.S. Osborne, and I bought this at the Woodcraft store in Woburn, Mass. You'll have to bear with me. Occasionally I'm going to tell you a story. My wife and I, before we had children, we went to Woburn, Mass a couple of Thanksgivings to visit my Aunt Carolyn and Uncle John, and it just so happened that the Woodcraft store was not very far from their house. Now that was when Woodcraft was a smaller operation than it is now, and they only had the one store. And yeah, so it was a big deal to go to the Woodcraft store. I bought this and I have used it many times, not just for making small circles, but for scribing. It comes in handy for scribing. What's nice about this is it has a micro adjustment. You can get close, lock it up, and then you got this little thing right here. Well, maybe you don't lock it up. Yeah, you do. Yeah. Get with it, Herrick. So then you can turn this and it will go just a little bit. You can really dial this thing in. All right. So yeah, these are measured this way, I believe. This will be a 6-inch compass or wing divider. And as some of you know, I go to estate sales and I look for old tools and find them. And here's a larger wing divider that I picked up. Now this one here has a pencil you can put in it, and I have a metal part that I can put in there if I don't want to use the pencil. This one you don't have that option. We do have the micro adjust thing here, but this is an old one made by who? William Johnson. William Johnson Incorporated, Newark, New Jersey, USA. That's what's nice about these old tools. They're made in USA. Look at this thing. Is that beautiful or what? It's hand forged. This is a hand forged wing divider that's found it in a barn. Needs a little TLC to get it working nicely. But look at that. That's just a beauty. Just a beauty. Now when it comes to marking larger diameter circles, you need a tool known as a beam compass. All right, and there's different versions, there's different ways to make a beam compass. I'm going to show you a ridiculously simple, very effective way to make a beam compass. And to give you an example of a place where I used a beam compass that I'm going to show you how to make, here's an old photo, a couple of them, showing a brick hearth that I made for a friend for his wood stove. And in order to get that circle just right, I made a beam compass and marked out that front diameter on the floor. This little box right here contains a vintage carpenter's tool, a traditional tool used by carpenters to make big circles, and if need be, to make very big circles. This is a tool that in all of my career in the building trades, I never owned. Only recently did I acquire this at an estate sale. And it's kind of fun to have a pair of trammel points. I'll show you right there. Trammel points. Nickel-plated, Stanley, made in USA. This is what they look like. And these are utilized to make a beam compass. The one right here is made to accept a pencil like that. All right, so let's make a beam compass and draw our 36-inch diameter circle before I show you the alternative to this. Here's my plywood piece. I have used a 4-foot level to draw a line from corner to corner near the center to find the center. I've used an awl to make a little bit of an indent there for my trammel point to index into. And what I've also done is I've drawn and marked out on the plywood a distance of 18 inches. It's easier to set up your trammel points if you have it marked out. This is the beam. This is not a long beam. You could make a beam very long to use these trammel points. This is more than long enough. So what I'm going to do is put one trammel point on right there. I've sharpened my pencil, which is a good idea if you want a nice crisp line. And I'm going to put this trammel point on where it goes. Let's just tighten it up a little there, snug it up to see. Well, that's dead on. Dead on. Okay. Tighten it up and double check again. I like it. And this is how we do it. We just index that in there and we spin her around. Got a knot there. I broke the tip of my pencil off. Well, maybe you shouldn't put a sharp point on. This is I unscrewed the wrong thing. Well, this is real TV right here. Okay, see if we still line up good. Yeah, we're good. Oh man, take two. We're going to try a real carpenter's pencil in there now. This rough plywood requires a little pressure, a little more pressure than a nice smooth surface would need. That's a nice circle you got there, Mr. Kimball. Yeah, trammel points. Pretty cool. You can buy them, they're cheap. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the way that I've always made a beam compass. Instead of a thicker beam like I had somewhere here, is that it? Yeah. Instead of a thicker beam like this, maybe 1/2 inch, this would work, but I like to have something thinner. 1/8 inch, 3/16, somewhere in there like this. And so I'm going to make a beam compass out of this. Now I have some holes in here because I was playing around making some different circles, and what I did is I X'd out the circles that, that I've already used. I don't want to get confused. So I'm going to use a simple push drill. This is a Craftsman vintage push drill. I'm going to get a hole right there, and that, whoa, we just lost our "don't be a slacker" sign. Okay, so that's going to fit right in there like that. Okay, that's going to be our pivot point. And the 29 3/4 inch size of the circle that I need would require a radius that is half of 29 3/4, and that's 14 7/8. So what I'm going to do is mark a hole now, 14 7/8 from that first hole. And measuring from the end of a tape is always kind of iffy, so we don't do that. We cut an inch, we call it. We start at 1 inch, and instead of going 14 7/8, we go 15 7/8, and that would be right there. So I will make another hole right there, and that's for my pencil. We're going to give this guy a second chance, and that's not big enough, so I'll take my awl, and I'll just make that a little bit bigger, see if it comes through. It could go a little bit more. The alternative would be to drill a bigger hole. Okay, I think we got enough there. So let's take our awl, and we will put our awl, we will give it our all right there. And get our things out of the way. We'll get the, gee whiz, the tripod is in the way. So what do we do then? We got to get her done, so we're going to cut our beam a little shorter over here. There we go. And we'll start making our circle. Just like that. This is the way I've always done it. It's always worked. You don't need trammel points. You don't need to spend a few hours making a beam compass. You can just take a scrap of wood like that. And that is how we in the building trades draw big circles. One way or another, it's going to work for you. You can get her done with those ideas. Now, Lord willing, and if the creek don't rise, in my next video, I'm going to show you a way, a pretty remarkable way, that you can divide a circle into any number of equal segments up to 100. We don't need to know this to make a cover for my standpipe, but we're on the subject of circles, and this is a pretty nifty technique. So stay tuned for that. And I'll see you in the next video, and don't forget the motto.